My name is Jeremy. Some of you guys may know me by my cosplay name, Strife Warrior Cosplay. I've been cosplaying for about a couple of years now. It's nice to see everybody attending this panel at Afest. It's my second time running the panel, so just be very, very gentle with me.
My name is Joe. Cosplay name is Sledge. First con I went to was in 2008 in Detroit. Ubicon, and it's still a little tiny convention, and now it's gigantic, you know. I started cosplaying in 2013, so there was a big gap between convention going and cosplaying, working up the confidence to get into costume and make things myself. I do primarily props and armor things, and friend Jeremy had this idea of this positivity in the cosplay community, and it's something that we definitely need.
Hello, I'm William. This is my first panel ever. My cosplay page is Tiny Little Man Cosplay. And actually my first convention was A-Con 10 years ago. I know, cheer for me, thank you. So it's kind of weird because I haven't been back in this building in 10 years, so I'm having like flashbacks of things that happened at A-Con 10 years ago, which is really cool. But they asked me to join their panel, and it's kind of hard to say no. This is a really important topic.
So the main thing is, as you know, the panel title is positive and support the cosplay community. As both of these gentlemen said, it's something very, very needed in the community. Kind of where the idea started is last year I was actually going through some really tough times with some anxiety stuff that I was struggling with. And after realizing like, a lot of my issues had kind of stemmed from, you know, going through depression, anxiety, and all kinds of other stuff. I guess it's a pretty good topic to be thrown off by term. But anyway, the main thing that I realized is like a lot of people go through this, whether cosplayers, non-cosplayers alike, that it's it's something more common than people think, and you know, the last thing that I wanted was just anybody else to go through what I was going through. So I created a Facebook group called Come As You Are, which it's basically just a safe haven to where you can vent anything that you're going through, whether you're in cosplay or not, with depression, anxiety, confidence issues, you know, some people struggle with anything. It's completely like, you know, free group, free reign. You know, the group is closed too, so there's nothing that like you would see through your newsfeed unless you were part of the actual group. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just here to spread a good message of, you know, support and positivity, and it's something we desperately need. And what in any community for that matter, whether you're like in card games or gaming, you know, it's never cool to deal with anything negative. So, and by the way, if you guys have any questions or anything like while we're discussing anything, feel free to raise your hand, or if you just want to input something, feel free. I mean, you know, we definitely want to hear from you guys as well. Do you guys have any questions before we go on to the next topic, or? Don't be shy.
Way in the back.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Start with prop making? That would be just...
I can answer that for you. Start by confidence is what you need. It's the first thing you need. Realize that whatever you're going to make is going to be awesome.
Yeah. But the main thing too is just I'm myself is I'm kind of a perfectionist. I've done different things in music, voice acting, pretty much almost anything creative. You know, it's one thing. It took me a long time to realize that whatever you do on the first attempt, unless you're really, really good at it, and you've had like 20 plus years of experience with it, it's not going to be perfect. Like it's okay, and it's okay it's all about progression. I mean, you won't be perfect the first time, and I mean, as long as you have fun doing it, feel free to look up tutorials, reach out to people. I know this guy did you do your props panel already?
That's next hour panel.
Yeah, so be sure to go to this guy's panel. He can definitely help you with some more questions, stuff like that related. But yeah, I mean, as he said, as long as you're having fun doing it, I mean, don't let anybody stop you.
I'm drawing a blank.
Any other questions before we go on to the next topic? I mean, feel free to ask, we just want to make sure we're not skipping over anybody. So.
Just real fast, something that really is important to me, you were talking about just like where do you start with props. I want to talk about how anybody should be able to cosplay whatever they want. Any character you want. Don't let the character's body type, race, gender prohibit you from, experiencing your art. Pursue it. Don't worry about what other people are going to say or think, because this is about you, and you're doing this for fun. And there's two sides to it. There's the hobby side, and there's like the competition side, right? So if you're in the competitions, of course, there's going to be criticism because that comes down to details, accuracy. That's a little different. But when you're just out here on the floor, just enjoy what you're doing. Cosplay whoever you want, no matter what.
Kind of building off of that, when I started cosplaying as Ezio from Assassin's Creed, and whoever has played that game knows that he's Italian. I am not Italian. But as I just kept doing it over the years, and people actually started to say that, oh hey, you look actually kind of like Ezio, or you look exactly like that character. And so really never let any of your fears hold you back from doing a cosplay, because you never know, for someone you might look exactly like that character.
So it's true. So what was your first costume?
My first cosplay, well, I always have two answers for that, because the first cosplay I've ever done before going to convention was actually Two-Face from Batman the Animated Series.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do the full blue. I mean, I did the face paint, but I didn't do the whole upper half body stuff like that. One obviously I want to get paint on the costume. But then I think after that, when I went to A-Kon for the first time in 2013, I would say his first convention cosplay was Ness. Something real easy to do together. Yeah, and because Earthbound was my favorite game. Earthbound's my favorite game of all time, and I had a lot of fun doing it, and it was just crazy. It was for being to your convention the first time, because I'm from a small town. The town I grew up in is Golden. The population is literally less than 2,000 people. So and it's about 5 hours south from here. So to be in a community or in just an area in general where there's more people that had a similar interest that you do, I mean, it's really cool, because growing up, my graduating class was 100 people. There was very few people, friends that I had that I could actually nerd out with. So, and it was just a really cool environment just to be able to nerd out with other people, and yeah.
My first costume was Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles. Before cosplaying Shulk was cool. Before he was in Smash Brothers.
You were really feeling it ahead of everything.
I was really feeling it. That's right. And it was hard because I don't look anything like him. He's a young teenager, blonde hair, but I just wanted to do the character because I love the game so much. And I remember going through getting myself mentally prepared for the walk from the car to the convention center, and those nerves when they were shaking. I was so nervous about getting judged by people, and then I think about how scared I was that first time compared to now. I don't care what anybody thinks. Now I'll cosplay anything. That first walk was really hard to deal with, and you are never too old to cosplay. You're never too old to cosplay.
Yeah, I'm
started me on
so.
Yeah.
So I'm a 40-year-old guy, and and I didn't start cosplaying until just a few years ago, and I thought that it was going to be one in a million old folks out there. And then I see people who are twice my age out there and still cosplay, and it's a great thing to see.
My first cosplay was actually here at A-Kon in this building. I didn't have I was gonna cosplay Zach from Dead or Alive, but I didn't want to cut my hair, so that didn't work out. So I bought a headband from the dealer's room and was Random Ninja #1.
Random Ninja
Random Ninja #1, that was my cosplay. And so I went to the Naruto photo shoot, and when they were taking photos of Naruto, I was like, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm actually the one that does all the work. Naruto just shows up at the last second. So it was a good cosplay, but it was a weird cosplay, but it worked. You know, I took my own spin on the character. So it started off, you know, very young, 13 years old cosplaying, and been cosplaying ever since. So
I would say like the first nerve-wracking experience I had though was cosplay was when I put on Green Ranger for the first time. Man, I can't. I never, you know, I'm still not the slimmest guy out there. And just, you know, putting the spandex on for the first time, I was just like, oh, I was just so nervous. But I mean, I stepped on the con floor, like people loved it, and it was just, it was really eye-opening.
Wear a dance belt.
yes,
That also,
I cannot stress that enough.
Trust me, I'm worried about so yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's just all about there going out and having fun, regardless of what anybody else thinks, because you're here to have fun, and really that should be anybody's reason. So if you go into convention in the first place, it's just to have fun and not hate on other people, you know what I mean? So it's, yeah, I mean, sorry if I keep touching my phone, it's our outline here, so I'm like, trying not to, you guys are gonna focus, so.
We'd like to also touch on that. Nobody owns a character.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you see somebody does an amazing version of something and you don't want to do it because you feel like you have to live up to their version of it. Do your own version of it, you know. Go ahead and make it your own, you know. Don't feel pressure if someone says, oh, there's too many Widowmakers out there right now, I don't want to do it. If you like that, let's just do it. A lot of Widowmakers, but still, it's a great costume. If you want to do it. Yeah, you know, y'all remember, what? Attack on Titan? Everybody was doing Attack on Titan. What's everybody doing this year?
Overwatch.
Final Fantasy 15.
You're on mono.
Yeah, My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
I think I counted about 200 people out there.
Yeah.
You're out.
You're nice, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my roomie's doing Roomie on Ice.
I know what you're trying to say, roommates.
I think that's a fan fiction.
That's a different panel, but anyway.
Yeah, that's a hentai fan.
Yeah. But no, but like just like Joe was saying, find a way to make it your own. One thing I did, which seemed kind of funny now, but you know, I just like the help at the time is like the helmet gave me a lot of confidence when I was doing Green Ranger. I would just randomly break out into dance. Like it just like I didn't care. And I felt like that was like just a good way just to have fun. And cause I know I wasn't the most fit guy out there, but I figured if I could just like entertain people and have a good time with other people, they would do the same.
So him saying that he would just break out and dance kind of reminds me. So I cosplay Miles Morales Spider-Man as well. We're doing that after this panel. And last night I was twerking all over the place. Literally everywhere I could find that there was a wall, I was twerking on it. It was. I even got arrested by the thought patrol, so
Yeah.
it happened. It's gonna happen again tonight. So if you see me, yeah, just know I'll be twerking somewhere. Just giving you a warning.
Yeah, you.
My hammer.
Please don't hammer me.
I had an idea. No, I forgot.
Okay, so how many of you guys in here have dealt with any kind of?
No, don't ask them that because then they have to raise their hands.
Okay, well, you can just nod. You don't have to raise your hands.
Just know inside. Answer this inside. You know, how many of y'all have to deal with depression or anxiety or anything like that?
Yes. Or if
Go and give you anxiety to raise your hand. See what I'm saying?
okay, I see what you're saying. I'm sorry. Positivity.
Yeah.
I get what you're going. So, but I'm sure at one point, you've probably gone through at least some kind of somebody insulting your cosplay or shaming you for your cosplay. You're not cosplaying the right race, and I just want to let you know that is not okay. You shouldn't have to deal with that, and don't put up with it. If somebody just like makes you feel uncomfortable, I mean, feel free to at least go to a safe spot with a friend, or if somebody just keeps harassing other people, let con staff know and just let them, hey, stuff's not okay. It's just like, I mean, you're here to have fun. I work 50 to 55 hours a week. The last thing I want to do is deal with something negative here when I want to, just have fun with my friends.
Has anybody here experienced negativity firsthand?
or at least so far this weekend.
Yeah, period.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Some of us have. It's hard to deal with sometimes. How about Facebook problems? When people like the
Facebook drama.
Facebook drama, yeah, that's always rough. I highly recommend. Well, personally, for me, I think it's really bad when people screenshot private combos and then put it on Facebook, and because that starts drama. And you probably don't want to stay away from drama.
Even so much as, just, it's weird because for me, it was more of a situation where I posted something and then the screenshots are taken of mine, and that started drama. Like it was a whole mess of stuff. But it's really, like we should just be more supportive of each other in general. It doesn't matter what someone's cosplaying, it doesn't matter how they're cosplaying it, as long as they're having fun. Who are we to tell anyone not to have fun, personally, I don't think that should be even an issue. Like, why should I be able to tell you, oh, hey, I don't like the way you're cosplaying that character, okay? It's not for you, it's for me, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's my personal feel on it.
I think the main thing,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Reminds me, I normally cosplay Ryu from Street Fighter. Some of you might have seen me already. I remember one of the earliest times when I was wearing the gi and I was packing all the way to me. I'll just stand up. I'm not the thinnest guy either, but at this point I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
This was before I had that confidence. This one guy was like, this was here when it was on. One guy, I think he might have been drunk, was just like calling out to me when I walked in. Hey, what happened to you, man? I don't recommend this. I actually reacted by throwing a side kick, but I didn't actually kick him. I'm actually a black belt and I had enough control to not hit him, and I just shut everyone up around me. So sometimes it's a little confident self, but I don't recommend actually assaulting anyone. That's not positive. That's a good idea, bad idea thing for you.
Yeah. Well, the main thing too, like it's, I think with the main, like one thing about social media in general, and maybe not saying so much social media, but just perception is a really big thing. It's something I have to deal with at work a lot too. I have a very stoic demeanor sometimes. So I always have to I've been trying to work on how I portray myself to people, because sometimes they think just because I don't really smile that much, that I'm just really cold or callous. And kind of like what he was saying here, sometimes you can't really, I guess, unless you know for sure what that person is implying. Perception is like really huge, and something can easily get twisted. Rumors can start spreading really easily when that may have not even been the intention in the first place. I think at one point too, when we were getting ready to run this panel, and I was adding a panelist here, there was rumors being spread that we were going to talk about a controversial topic, and the first thing that person started doing was insulting my panelist, and that's just not okay. And
they attacked him?
yeah. So, and they just basically, hey, you don't need to talk about this topic. It's too sensitive, stuff like that. And I was like, well, I never stated that I was going to talk about this topic. I'm not sure where you got that notion. And it was something completely unrelated to the panel. So you just really have to watch what you say, or at least what you're accusing somebody of. It's just, perception is just really huge, and you just don't know how far something, can go when it comes to stuff like that.
It's going to be taken out of context very easily.
Exactly.
It's unfortunate. I've been a victim of some, feel like a victim, but I have received a lot of negative comments about my costumes, and a lot of my friends have also. Especially when the character you're cosplaying, you don't actually fit their body type. My character is supposed to be 6 inches taller, have rippling abs, and he's also white. I'm not white. It's okay. But I love the character, so I did it anyways. But of course on Facebook or online, it's, Gladio is flat, whatever, or eat too much cup noodle or something. There's a lot, and I just kind of shake it off. It's not a big deal. But, those really can affect some people. And, when the community comes together to shut down people who would say those negative things, can definitely help that person realize oh, your effort really is worthwhile, don't worry about the naysayers or the haters. And sometimes they're not even part of the cosplay community.
Yeah.
They're just, people who just want to spread hate or make people upset. Trolls.
Yeah.
Don't feed the trolls. Sometimes it's better to hide the comment and not reply,
How many of you guys use cosplay as an outlet? Like, yeah, that's definitely what I use it for myself too. As I was kind of saying earlier, I deal with like a lot of anxiety and depression, what I had going on. It's just a really cool way to, just make you forget about that for a moment, or just for a weekend, really. I'm trying to think where I was going with this.
How many of y'all feel more like yourself when you're in costume?
Yeah, that's a better question.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because you can portray, because you find that character that you identify with so well, or at least certain qualities. With me and Green Ranger. Green Ranger was my childhood hero. I thought he was just really cool, and then he was just very unique to the team, and that he just brought something to the table that nobody else could have. And that I just also like there's a redeeming factor about him too, because sometimes we all mess up, make mistakes, but it was kind of cool that he redeemed himself and then joined the other Rangers at that time too. So, go ahead.
Oh, I cosplay confused characters, kind of the not so good, not so bad. Well, no more. I like bad guys. I don't see myself as a bad guy, but I like bad guys who are only bad because you're playing the game from the point of view of the hero. But from the bad guy's point of view, they're not bad. You know what I'm saying? It's
You're
a
Wreck-It
perception.
Ralph.
Huh?
You're Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah, if I can pull it off, that would be amazing. Yeah, I like Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah, exactly. I'm bad, but that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that would be good.
Thanks,
That's not
Satan.
bad. Yeah, no, not that bad. What do you have to
I don't think I do. I'm just kind of enjoying listening to you guys' accounts.
Y'all have any questions yet?
Yeah, anything or any experiences you want to share?
Anything that you think we should be talking about? Your armor is really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. Everybody look at her.
You saying you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Definitely don't feel afraid. This is exactly what this panel is for, positivity and support. So we're supporting you. If you have any questions, feel free to just let us know. Or no one's gonna think anything less of you. No one's gonna look at you weird. So
Yeah, or any experiences you want to share. Go ahead.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. So, my experience is actually being a Hispanic white person, but cosplaying someone who is a little bit darker. So I just wanted to say that I've had those negative looks already, and so even if you are a darker skin, you should just ignore those looks in cosplay, whoever you want, because if anybody can cosplay a slightly darker person, then it doesn't matter really what skin color. I already had a little child look at me and go, I thought Moana was black. And it kind of just hurt me a little bit, because even this child is already seeing the color that we try to get rid of. So that's my experience today.
I was actually going to say you're one of the best Moanas I've ever seen. So you're welcome.
You gotta say it
You're welcome.
Justin, you have something?
Yeah, do you mind, I know I already told this thing on there.
No, you're good.
I'm
Good.
sure it's worth
Yeah,
having
yeah.
that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was actually, it was Avon. A few years back, I was actually kind of in a pretty bad way. I also do Evil Ryu, and I tend to put him on only when I'm in a bad mood, which happens every now and again at cons. It's just the end of the day, I'm tired, and something just sets me off. So I went outside back when at the previous Avon hotel, before the one that we had this year. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Point is, I went outside, I was just angry, I decided to just practice, and I run into a Green Ranger. Now, if anybody doesn't know the show Superpower Beatdown, they had a match of Ryu versus Green Ranger, and I had just seen it, and he won. And I was like, And I was just like, I wasn't actually going to assault this guy who I didn't even know, but I was like, Tommy, you ready for a rematch? And like, we just like sparred for like, what, 10 minutes or so.
Oh, yeah.
Like just fake sparring, and everybody was just cheering. And it actually made me feel so much better that I went and changed back to the normal gi. And then like the next day, like eventually we started talking to each other, and I'm like, so even when you're like not at a high point, like sometimes just meeting the right person in cosplay can really help out, really help a lot. Because this dude's been really good to me, and that's why I come to sports panels.
Oh, well, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like I was picked on a lot growing up. I had like, especially like middle school through high school, like 6th to 10th grade, I hate those years. I had glasses, I had braces, I had pretty much everything. I was just picked on a lot. And you know, it just, when I came to ACON for the first time, and I just saw that, like, at least from what I saw, I know this is kind of why we have this panel, because, you know, people are not supposed to judge each other. But anyway, just the fact that, like, people were just accepting who I was, you know, I just, when I kept cosplaying more and more and going to more conventions, you know, I kind of made a promise to myself that I'm not going to treat anybody differently, because we're all here to have fun, you know, no matter what fandom you're part of. Like, I don't see the point of treating anybody different. We're all here for the same reasons, you know, to have fun and geek out. So.
One of the things I ran into when I first started cosplaying was that I didn't know anybody. I was just some guy showing up at a convention, and I didn't know anybody. Some people wanted to take photos of me. I didn't know how the community worked. But one of the best ways to make friends, I didn't realize, but now I know, is to find a group of like-minded people, maybe a Facebook group, Disney cosplayers, Borderlands cosplayers, 501, you know, all these groups that are specific to your cosplay or your interests, you know, or, you know, join a bunch of them. I think I'm like 100 different groups now. Just my news feeds just packed all the time. But I tell people when they first show up, oh, this is my first convention, you know, I tell them, well, welcome to the community. What do you cosplay? So they don't know what their cosplay was. And try and tell them ways to make friends in the community, because some people are just too scared to just approach people and say, hi, I like your costume. You know, stand in the corner instead and wish they had the confidence to just approach random strangers. So a good way to get into that is to join Facebook groups. I'm sure most of you guys already know. I definitely recommend that. If you aren't in one, in a Facebook group, you know, that are relevant to your interests, find one. It's a really good confidence booster, and you make friends that way.
That's actually a very good idea. I run a Assassin's Creed guild, and we had a sister guild form that wasn't originally the sister guild. And for a while, there was like this animosity between the two guilds of like, oh, you know, who's the better assassins and stuff like that. And then after a certain point, like, because, you know, I was just watching this happen, I was like, why are we even arguing? We're literally the same thing. Aren't we supposed to be like on the same team? And so I met with the person that leads the other group at, I think it was Wizard World San Antonio, maybe? Can't remember exactly which con it was, but like I saw her there and I was like kind of nervous to talk to her because I was like, you know, there's all this animosity between our two groups. I was like, you know what? Let me just go to her. And so I went over to her and I was like, hey, you know, I'm the leader of this guild. You're the leader of this other one. It's time to stop the hate. Let's be friends. And so we took pictures of us shaking hands so all of our guild members could see. We took pictures of us hugging each other, and and we posted it to the two groups. So like, the war's done, we've made up, you know, and now both of our groups are like accepting both members. Like, it's like, oh, if you're a part of this guild, you should also be a part of this guild, you know, as well. And you know, there's really no need to, if you see other people that are cosplaying similar things, to be like, oh, you know, I dislike this one because I'm a better one, or you know, even having the mindset, like, don't even have the mindset, oh, I'm the better one, you know? You're just a different version. So, always try to make friends with the people that are cosplaying the same thing as you, you know? You can always share stories about, oh, hey, this is how I built this thing, this is, you know, the makeup I use. So, that's my little tidbit about that.
It actually reminded me of there was a story that happened, or something that happened last year at Afest. So, from WCW.
Nice.
So I was going around blasting wrestling music, and then all of a sudden I saw this other Green Ranger. So I just like, it was kind of funny because like some people know that I'll just like go up and like act like I'm confronting somebody. So I just kind of got him in his face. I just spun him around and like got in his face, and then we had like this. I had somebody record where we just like did this face off for like 5 seconds. And then so like I did like in a twist, I went ahead and like I grabbed his arm and I stood by his side and we did like some victory pose together. So it was kind of a cool little thing. And then we started talking about where we got our helmets from. It was just.
Isn't that funny how you make friends at conventions?
Yeah.
Like just odd and weird ways.
Start fight with the guy.
Yeah, started fighting with the
I
guy.
have a big fire just saying, you pose in the hallway with somebody, hey, let's take a quick photo together.
Yeah.
You see him at the next convention, the next thing you know, y'all are friends. It's a really unique experience, you know, that we need to keep happening.
Yeah. Also, don't be afraid to like talk to people. Like, I'm actually a victim of that myself. When I first saw Joe, actually, I was pretty like, I was like, oh my god. I don't know why, like, but when I saw him, I was like, that is my senpai. I don't even know why. I don't know. I was just like, that's my senpai. That's him. I see it. And I like. Right? And like I followed like all of his stuff, like I would watch his progresses on Instagram and Facebook, and I was like, that's senpai, oh my god, he's so cool. And then I saw him at, I think it was Akon, and he had like the giant cup noodles, I'm like, oh my god, senpai's so cool. And I hadn't really talked to him, and then I think it was when I got asked to be on the panel that I actually started talking to you, and I was just like, okay, I don't know why I was so afraid. But, and then, you're still my cosplay senpai, so, but like, don't be afraid to talk to people, like, you never know, like, and generally people in the cosplay community are not going to be rude. Generally, they're like the sweetest people you'll ever meet, so just always feel free to approach people.
Sure. We all know there's bad eggs in every community. Just avoid them.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions? Oh yeah, go
Sorry, I
ahead.
can't raise my hand.
Oh, you're good. I'm sorry.
But kind of going off of that, I had both the most positive and most negative experience in the same cosplay on the same day. I was dressed as Genkai from Yu Yu Hakusho. My husband was dressed as Yusuke.
Nice.
My husband's from Nepal, so very dark complected, very thick, curly black hair, shaves his beard, comes back 2 seconds later, kind of got him short. So we're just having a good time, and we ended up meeting the best group. All of a sudden that year, there were just so many Yu Yu Hakusho cosplayers, and we all hung out the whole day. We ended up becoming friends. Like, it was just the whole day. We had no idea we were going to show up together. We just were like, hey, another Yusuke, hey, a bow tie. It ended up becoming something. But as we're walking around, whenever we were separated, I could hear people talking, and I know my husband could hear it too. People were saying stuff like, such a good cosplay. Yeah, but can we get a picture without the Yusuke because he's so dark. He doesn't even look like him. Look how dark he is. He's Hispanic. We don't want a Hispanic Yusuke. He's not even Hispanic, but it's beside the point. It was just, and I can see it kind of affecting him. He's trying not to let it get to him. He's getting frustrated. He hasn't really cosplayed since. So.
Oh, that's
But it ended up being such a good day by the end. He had such a good day with everybody else. So you gotta stick to the good things and kind of tune out.
I'm sorry that happened. That's terrible.
Yeah, let him know the tiny little man wants to see his Yusuke.
I'll tell him. He'll be here in like now.
Oh man, that's sad. Yeah, I had a friend of mine. I do Final Fantasy cosplay. It's one of my favorite franchises. And one of my Noctis cosplayers is a black guy, and he got a lot of hate because he's not short. Is Noctis technically Japanese, right?
I think so. I haven't really played.
All Final Fantasy characters are technically.
Yeah, he got a lot of hate just because he's being himself in costume, and there's no place for that in our community,
Yes, it's just not cool.
Yeah. Kind of building off that, I saw on Facebook a Lakoa cosplayer who was African American, and she was getting a lot of hate just because she was black. And like her cosplay was amazing. Like, holy crap, she did amazing on that. I was just like how far have we fallen that we even let that be an issue? It's kind of sad that that's even affected the cosplay community. So I again, definitely don't judge people. Always support cosplayers. And whatever cosplay they're doing.
And the more popular cosplay gets, the more diverse the type of people who are going to be in this community. And there's going to be diversity of ideals, body types, different ethnicities, and we all got to get along together somehow.
Sure. Yep.
One thing I can say is I'm a bigger guy, and for me, I played Mario and I did Bob from Tekken. Those were my two. Bob was my first cosplay ever at A-Kon this year. And oddly enough, 10 years ago was my last A-Kon when I first started going in this building.
I think we were there at the same time.
Yes, we were. And Jeremy Strife, I asked him what he was doing at A-Kon this year. And he told me he was doing a Tekken character. And I was like, well, is there a bigger Tekken character? He goes, you can do whatever you want. For me, I do a bigger character because I want to fit the part completely. But if you want to do, let's say you want to do a skinny character. Well, Justin wants to be a skinny character. You can do it big, you can do it small, but maybe also turn that as motivation. So like, I want to do skinny Bob eventually. I've done big Bob. Maybe one day I can work out and lose weight. It's kind of, think of it as a goal. Don't let anybody judge you for it.
Yeah. Well, many people have gotten in shape for cosplay, not because they wanted to look good, because they wanted to look good in there.
Reuse my inspiration to.
That's what I'm saying. Just,
I mean, if it's 2015, I did a whole bunch of
big or
character
small,
raises,
Yeah.
stuff,
big or
so-
small, just if you want to be that character, and that's like me, I'm Mario, I'm a big guy, I'm good, I like it. But eventually I want to lose some weight, that way I can do, I want to be a Saiyan, I want to get Saiyan armor, grew up on Dragon Ball. I want to do a skinny Bob, and that's kind of my motivation to start working out. Also, I have 2 kids, and I had an accident 2 years ago, really bad, hospital for a couple months. So I've gained some weight because I couldn't work out, and I still really can't, but it's getting to the point to where I need something to motivate me to get back into shape. And oddly enough, doing skinny Bob maybe next year might be enough motivation for me. So,
I believe you had something as well.
We were talking about like how people are naturally judgmental, but especially the costume. I'm really new to the cosplay community, but from what I've seen on Facebook and like friends talk about, it's really hard. Like, because cosplay, you're supposed to like do a character that you love. You're not being accurate is good, but I don't like you said, the people that shame that like just because you're big, you can do any character you really want. I mean,
Right.
but like, because now, if you're big, then you're like, what am I going to do, Mario and Roadhog? That's, like, so not fair, because the cosplay world is supposed to be, like, a community where you love each other, where you love everybody, where you can go and be yourself and not feel judged, you know? And that's why I like the cosplay community, but now I hear, like, they're all getting competitive, and it's not really, I think you can be competitive, but you shouldn't, like, bash someone else.
Right.
But we all knew that. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
But like the Facebook thing with he like made his skin darker or something, and then people got mad at that. Like that, he's trying to be accurate. Why would you be accurate? It just that stuff bothers me because like when I come to the conventions, I want to see everybody saying good cosplay, cool cosplay. Like everybody likes each other, but
Right.
I hear there's a lot of underneath drama. So
Yeah, there's
it's tough.
as we were saying earlier, there's like a lot of bad eggs in the community. Sometimes the best thing you do is avoid it. I mean, I hate to say this, but like I have a lot of negative people on my feed. I don't necessarily, I feel bad for saying, I don't necessarily feel that I need to remove them. It's like I don't want to be that guy. But I mean, sometimes I hide the post if I don't like it. Like I don't want to see that. I'm sorry. Like I deal with a lot of negative stuff as it is, and I just want to filter that out. And I mean, the best thing we can do about that is just be supportive of one another and not let stuff like that bother us.
I had a friend, I'm going to wrap it up soon, but I had a friend who had a disagreement about what we were just talking about. And it caused a big argument, just because we had a difference of opinion. We had a huge argument. And it led to call-out posts and screenshots of this, and then people getting unfriended and blocking. And that's a lot of negativity. Instead of just agreeing to disagree they turned into this big drama fest.
Yeah, it could have been like, I don't really agree with what you did, but still great cosplay. Why do you, I don't know whether it's because social media nowadays I just don't like that. Like, it makes me sad because then it hurts them. And
Right.
it just puts a sour taste, right?
Yeah.
I think
So Fenton had a question.
You had some Eric?
Oh yeah, so hey guys, I'm Eric. I've been doing cosplay for a while. A lot of fun to stand up because I've been sitting for a while and hurt my arms. So basically, to elaborate on what we're talking about, I think we're in a very unique time for America and society. We're in a very volatile political and social environment. Race, or sexual orientation, all those factors are big topics nowadays. It causes a lot of judgment, a lot of issues, things that we don't really like. The thing is though, is I will be completely honest, I do a lot of competition with cosplay, and I do, look at people like, oh, I don't like how that was done, I don't like how this was done. But it's more because I'm more of a, I'm a nitpicky kind of person, and that's how cosplay is. Cosplay is a very nitpicky culture, There's people that cosplay as characters, they're playing these games, watching these movies for their whole life, so they know these characters inside out, so that they envision, a certain character when they see a cosplay. But here's the important thing, I think, cosplaying, when you don't feel comfortable with the cosplay you're doing. You are your own front line of defense for, being happy, being comfortable with your cosplay. It's all about having fun, regardless of how you look, regardless of what your skin color is, regardless of how big you are. It doesn't matter because the people that, inevitably come and lash at you, see comments and they're talking behind your back, there's probably something wrong with them. Maybe they, have issues. They just can't appreciate it. So really, you just, it's not ignoring it. It's just, enjoy yourself. Enjoy, cosplaying what you're doing. Just don't let, others tell you otherwise. Because, this is a time when it's very crucial to not accept any negative comments. You're only validating, this harsh criticism and trolling. So that's why I have to say that.
I just want to touch on one thing that he said about the nitpickiness. I would say never go up to a cosplayer and tell them, it looks good, but you should have done this differently. Don't give your opinion unless they ask. If somebody says, hey, what would you have done differently here? Or is there something I could do to make this even better? Then it opens it up to where, this looks great, but in this, with the character you're doing, this is how it was done in the game, in the movie, or the whatever. That maybe try it this way. But don't just walk up to somebody and say, "Oh, you look great," but
Yeah, it's just like, oh, you can say that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't give them criticism unless they ask.
Exactly. Yeah, that was actually one of the points we're going to bring up next. Anybody have any kind of last questions before we start wrapping things up here?
Can you guys keep going?
Okay.
Did you take a back here by any chance?
I'm sorry?
I don't see that.
My phone's on.
Alright, thank you.
All
Sorry.
right, good. Good. So, 3 minutes. We got 3 minutes, guys. So that's actually one of the things I was, definitely don't ask, or definitely don't give constructive criticism unless somebody asks you. Another good way to support one another is, start a conversation. Make friends, do a compliment. I really like your Liu Kang, or I really like your Mario, or I really like your Hanzo. And just ask questions related to the character, like what's your favorite Mario game, or do you main Hanzo in Overwatch, or do you always pick Liu Kang when you play Mortal Kombat? Is Mandalorian your favorite thing on the Star Wars universe? It's just, you'd be very surprised on what kind of good things that can come from that. This guy over here, Eric, for example, I met him 4 years ago at A-Kon. He does a really good Falco cosplay. And it was funny because I saw him then, and then if some of you guys that went to A-Kon 2014, they were trying to break the Guinness World Records for most video game characters in one setting. Yeah. So they locked us up in that veranda. Well, not locked us up, They they put us all together in that the Veranda Club, I think, at the Amateur. And then I saw him then there again too. It was crazy because I met some other Falco cosplayers, and I finally did my own human version of Falco at Anime Matsuri 2016, and so be it. Eric had went to Anime Matsuri Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, oh, that was good. I like that one.
So just so happened, it was his first anime Matsuri, and that was my first time dating Falco, and I was like, hey, we'll do a quick photo shoot real quick, and you know, after like 3 or 4 times seeing sporadically, seeing each other sporadically, we became pretty good friends. So.
Did you break the world record?
No, we didn't, because people left. I guess what they didn't do is like, because people had to run off for photo shoots, so they let people out. So people like a few thousand shy. I can't remember or something.
The irony of that is 10 years ago when we were at Acon, we broke
the record.
Nice.
So I was like, I wonder if you broke our record. Like, I don't know what we had. It was because back then cosplay still new.
It was, yeah, and somehow they made a big deal out of it on, because Saturday.
Yep.
You came on Friday and they're like, hey, we're trying to break the record. We have this many tickets sold. Everybody needs to be in this building at this time.
Yep.
They made a big announcement and everything. It was so much fun.
For sure.
Anybody have anything else they'd like to ask really fast before we wrap it up here?
Anything at all?
Okay.
Well,
Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it.
yeah,
Remember, be positive.
for sure. Spread the love, good vibes, always good vibes, and thank you guys for coming.
And never fear to just tell like cosplayers, hey, I like your outfit. It goes a long way, trust me.
Eye
Yeah, I like your
contact.
Yeah, I like your outfit.
Thanks, guys.
Nerds.